So when Father Tony fell ill yesterday, we talked through a few different options. One of which was maybe read from the Book of Homilies. Thought you'd all enjoy a 16th century against drunkenness or something of that nature. Option 2, do I have something from my seminary days, like 5 biblical ways to fix your marriage? Like, is that in my files somewhere? Don't want to do that. Option 3, I actually preached Trinity 10 last year. So do I just give the same sermon and see if anyone noticed that I already gave it? Call some people out that way. So we ended up deciding, thankfully, that we'd collaborate on just a brief children's homily, and that's what we'll have this morning. All right, guys. So the theme for today's Bible passages is gifts. God gives us many gifts. What are some of the gifts that God gives us? Breath. Food and shelter. Toys. Family. One more. Eyes. Yes, those are all good things. Everything that God gives us is a gift. Even those things that maybe aren't so much fun. Now, does it feel good when your teacher corrects you? Yes or no? Does it feel good when your daddy has to discipline you for something you've done wrong? No. And yet the Bible is very clear that correction and discipline are gifts from God. Now, raise your hand if you are an oldest sibling. Yeah, actually, I'm the oldest sibling too. Father Tony is the oldest sibling as well. Now, do our parents ask us, who are the oldest siblings, sometimes to do more chores, extra chores, because we're the older ones? Yeah. Now, is that fun, having to do extra chores? Not always, no. And yet, being the oldest is a gift. There's an old phrase that was spoken first by Jesus himself. To whom much is given, much is required. Now, how many of you have read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Oh, good, almost all of you. Now, if you remember, the children in that story were given weapons and a healing potion by Father Christmas. Now, do you think they were supposed to just run off and play with those toys and hide them and use them for themselves? No, right? They were supposed to use them to fight and work and sweat, using those gifts for the good of others, to save Narnia, right? You see, every gift that God gives us, we are supposed to do 2 things. First, we're supposed to receive it with thanksgiving. And second, we are to put it to good use. Now, so first, we're supposed to be thankful for God's gifts, no matter what they are. So should you be thankful for your house that you live in? Yes. Should you be thankful for your healthy body? Yes. Should you be thankful for your brothers and sisters? What about when they're being really annoying, though? Yes, even then, right? But I haven't mentioned the greatest gift of all. God has given each and every one of you the best gift in the whole world. Every one of you who is baptized has the God who made the whole universe living inside of you. Jesus is with you all the time. You don't have to fear sickness or death because you are God's adopted son or daughter. We come together every Sunday to give thanks that God has saved us and dwells within us. In fact, our whole service every week is called Eucharist, which means thanksgiving. Now, I want to give you guys a way to practice being thankful for the gifts that God gives you. When we come up to receive communion, we're supposed to kneel and put our hands out like this. Can we do that? Let's see. Okay. Now, I want you guys to take your hands and lift them up higher even than above your heart. Good. You're making a throne for Jesus to sit on. You can put them down now. You did great. If you gave someone a great gift, would you want them to receive it with their hand in their pocket, sort of slouched down, all lazy-like? No. Holding your hands high will teach you to treat all of God's gifts with thankfulness and respect. So just a few minutes from now, when you come forward and you kneel and you receive the consecrated host, I want you to lift your hands nice and high and really look at that little piece of bread in your hand. I want you to pause and think of a few of the gifts that God gives you. Try to think of the ones that are the hardest to give thanks for. Maybe a teacher who expects a lot from you. Maybe your sister or your brother who can sometimes just be so annoying. The little piece of bread represents all the gifts that God gives you and reminds you that they are the way that Jesus comes to you. It can be hard sometimes to really see all the gifts that God gives us. Sometimes especially the spiritual gifts that God gives us, which Paul talks about in the Bible passage we read earlier. But if we would just learn to look around, to look for God's gifts in our lives, we would begin to see them all around us. And we would then, recognizing them for the gifts that they are, be better able to put them to use for God's purposes. We are, remember, supposed to do two things with all the gifts God gives us: receive them with thanksgiving and put them to good use. So we can take even those hard things, those gifts we don't really want, like correction or discipline, and put them to good use by learning from our mistakes, by submitting to the authority of our teacher or parent, and working to become just a little bit more like Jesus than we were before. Amen. Go in peace.